Good evening, and once again, welcome to the U Talk Show, where tonight we, two white guys, are going to talk about immigration. What could possibly go wrong?
The
More
fact that you even
specifically,
mentioned our whiteness, even ironically. Okay, so if
self
you've been
awareness
watching
is
this show,
important.
look, if you've been watching this show for a while, you will know that I hate even the very mention of any kind of identity because identitarianism, in my opinion, is a cancer on society and politics. And yes, that goes for any kind of identitarianism, whether it be for the majority or for minority groups. So, regardless of, huh? You tell you.
I'll give you your chalky milk later. Calm down. Sorry, sometimes what you have to remember is that the very mention of any sort of identity around people which people might rally or of which people might be leery, Kyle turns into a small toddler who is very scared.
Okay, a small
I
toddler. That is
am
that is
on the
not
other.
okay. That is not what I turn into. What I turn into is this righteous being of fury that
So
that
what
is
you're
dis
saying
that
is
is
that you have an
disgusted.
identity, that you care about your identity.
No,
Well, then why are you objecting to being referred to as a small toddler? Why do you feel the need to correct it?
because that is putting an identity on me, and I hate an identity being put on me.
Yeah, but
I
you've
mean,
just chosen a different one. Like,
truth be told, it just seems it's just comes across as condescending, and even though you're having a joke of it,
I
I
understand,
get
but
enough condescension from other people who are less than stellar on these sorts of
so
subjects.
let's go with objective identities. Here we are, two white guys. Now, those of you who have previously listened to white guys talking about immigration might apply a pattern match to people who have existed in this space and their views on immigration and go, well, this is about to be hella racist. So,
Let me
no.
dispel that immediately by giving you my views on immigration. It
Oh,
has benefits and
Jesus.
drawbacks. No, it has benefits and drawbacks. See, immigrants tend to start businesses, like small businesses, at a much higher rate than native borns. This goes anywhere in the world, whether it be in Australia, China, Europe,
Immigration is the only reason
Africa.
we have fucking decent coffee.
I'll give you that as well.
Like, when
Like I'll
we
definitely that is absolutely true. And
in any
what
case, the
I
question is though, what are the benefits and drawbacks? I think that's what we're exploring rather than how quickly can Horst piss Kyle off by applying an identity-based label.
okay, but let's stop just okay. What I dislike is not even the identity based label. It's the speaking of things in terms of identity. Like if we talk about things in terms of culture, then you have a point because part of like food and drink is culture. Our
Yeah,
coffee
but
is culture.
our
It's a cultural
identities
import that we made our
are
own.
informed by our cultures and our respective backgrounds. Like
Well,
you cannot abolish identity. You can accept that identity in and of itself does not merit
okay, so
undue
specifically, I'm
consideration.
specifically I'm referring to identity that is based on race, religion, gender, or sexuality, because those are incredibly, in my opinion, arbitrary and irrelevant traits to who a person really is. Now, keep in mind, what I'm saying is identitarianism. How I view
So
that is is basically identitarianism is what a person is, not who they are, but what they are.
so you're basically saying that when we are labeling people along lines of things that they're born with, that is not useful. And I typically agree, but let me ask you in counterpoint, Kyle. Do you like redheads?
I mean, I'm with one, so I mean, then again, it's not a natural redhead, but What?
Can't just tell your girlfriend's secrets live, mate.
It's not a
God
secret.
damn.
It's not a secret.
Okay. But yeah,
Hey,
let's talk
not a
about.
secret. Never has been. You
Okay,
know.
so my main concern with immigration is fundamentally exploitation. See, I quite like the
Hmm.
fact that I can be most places in Sydney and get amazing banh mi. I like the fact that thanks to a
Banh
massive
mi.
influx of
What
migrants,
is what is
like
banh mi?
salad rolls,
Ah,
I
why
love
not
the
just
fact
call
that
them salad rolls?
be quiet, you uncultured heathen. I quite love the fact that basically anywhere in Australia I can get a decent cup of coffee thanks to a wave of migration in the 1950s, which has
Hmm.
left Australia with a fantastic coffee culture when they don't burn the fucking grounds. Sorry, still
I actually
salty about
just
bloody Maribyrnong.
recently, I actually just recently tried like traditional Italian hot chocolate, where it's basically chocolate syrup. It was good.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
also had it with cream, and it wasn't really like whipped cream per se. It was like very thick kind of whipped cream, and it was like,
Kramer.
yeah, it was quite nice. It was very
Um,
weird, but quite nice.
like I know that it's
See, but that's all
nothing.
cultural.
I
See,
love that it's
here's the
nothing approaching actual authentic cuisine. But I love the fact that I can go into a food court and have my choice of Chinese or Japanese or Indian foods.
look,
These are all benefits that make us stronger.
yeah, but see,
My
those
my
are
only
that's
concern is that
cultural.
filthy capitalists will take advantage of people who are, for whatever reason, not able to stand up for their rights.
Hmm.
That's all
But
that there
see,
really is. We have the ability to support so much immigration, but the fact of the matter is that
well, actually,
capitalism has the ability to make it a horrible idea.
two things there. First, I agree with you that effectively immigrants can be taken advantage of, and that is absolutely terrible. Fully agree.
It's morally
Although,
abhorrent.
yeah, fully agree. But I would actually disagree with our current ability to take on immigration. We actually, our infrastructure currently doesn't, how do I put it?
Yeah, but we hope to
We
fix
don't
all
have the
that
house,
anyway, don't we?
we don't have the housing and infrastructure. Now, if we fixed all
Yes,
that,
and we should
sure.
invest in it.
Oh yeah, we absolutely should invest in
Let's
it.
let's go with let's go with the last thing about the wealth gap, right? And assume a post-scarcity environment. Why
Oh, in a
is there not a
post-scarcity
reason?
environment, in a
Why is there
post-scarcity
likewise not a
environment,
reason to just
yeah,
welcome all of the contributions that can be brought?
in a post-scarcity environment, the only thing that we in Australia would have to worry about is just water, because you can't just create post-scarcity with water through economics.
No, but you
I
can
mean,
create it with desalination.
yes, well, true, but I mean that's still. I mean, look, you have to find somewhere to put all that salt, and while that can be used to make reagents, as we have discussed
No,
off
no,
camera in
no,
the
no.
past.
I've already figured out how to do that. We just get all of the people who are playing Counter-Strike. They need their salt replenished after being such salty losers.
Yes. You know what? Forget Counter Strike. Just dump it on the League of Legends players. They fucking need it. They need it. League of Legends players. They go to the salt mines every day and they still don't have enough salt.
Yeah, well, maybe if they'd learn to jungle instead of charging up the lane like bloody dipshits on Summoner's Rift, maybe they'd get good. Maybe they wouldn't need so much damn salt.
Yeah, sounds like you need some salt there. Sounds like you have some salt to give, actually.
I got your salt to give right here.
All right, so we're rapidly running out of time. So let's get to the because when I thought of this question, my sort of the crux of it was what are the benefits and drawbacks to the nation of immigration?
Well, the
Um,
benefits and drawbacks are that diversity is basically always a benefit when it is diversity of culture and diversity of thought.
yes,
Um,
yes. See that I was about to actually pull you up there and be like, as long as it's like a cultural diversity and a thought diversity, because when a lot of people talk about it, they specifically are just talking about
when
diversity of like
no, when
race,
you're talking about
religion,
diversity,
gender, sexuality, all that.
and you're saying that it would look really nice if this photograph showed a diverse group of people, visually diverse. What you have got isn't diversity. What you've got is a really nice photograph. But when you want to build a strong institution, it is required to have people with different ways of thinking, with different sets of information to inform
Yeah.
their judgment. Otherwise, what you have is a monoculture and something that will fall over.
Yeah. And see that, that can, so essentially the benefits are that it provides different patterns of thought, different ways of approaching things. On top of that, it also provides different, there's the cultural exchange. And,
Does Australia actually have a culture to exchange yet?
well, look, we've talked about
I
this
got
before.
Vegemite and fairy bread for you. Get up, you cunts.
Hey, don't forget our barbecued shrimp.
I do not
Americans,
know
they
of anyone
got
that
it wrong.
actually calls it shrimp in Australia.
I know it's. I mean, look, we don't even barbecue prawns. Well, mostly. Some people do, but they're weirdos. Most like anyway. That aside, because we're running out of time, we're probably going to run over time. So the benefits, it's cultural exchange. I think we have like a bit of a proto culture here, which we could very much build on to make it its own distinct culture. And we've talked about that in one of our previous episodes.
Yep, I remember that.
We have like a good cultural foundation in a way, but I just don't think we have enough examples of our culture to like have it be solidified as a distinct culture. But so there is this cultural exchange.
Ian Banks would like a word.
Say that again.
Ian Banks would like a word.
Remind me who that is again.
The culture.
I shit memory with names. Who's he again?
He's a novelist. He wrote the culture novels.
You're gonna have to remind me what that is after this. But for now though, okay, so we've got, immigrants tend to create small businesses at a higher rate. There's cultural exchange, which is sort of different ideas, different ways of thinking, different approaches to problems. And there's that sort of in a way, you could say it's the addition of more economic opportunities and developments through small businesses, and the addition of different philosophies through cultural exchange of ideas. And I think those are the two main benefits, with maybe a third being, food and drink. Like coffee and hot chocolate. I cannot believe
that you would take coffee and kebabs so lightly.
Look, I'm a tea drinker. Okay, I'm a teetotaler. All right, I don't drink coffee, so it's not as important to me as it is to you. But I respect that it is important to our culture. So, I mean, those are the benefits. The drawbacks in our current situation. So, assuming post scarcity, not a whole lot of drawbacks, but in our current situation, taking into account the context that we find ourselves in, I'd say the stress on infrastructure and the stress on housing is a bit much.
We already have a stress on infrastructure and on housing without a large amount of immigration. Those are failings of previous governments to do their damn jobs.
Yes, I completely agree. But at the same time, we can't, we shouldn't make the problem worse. And we had a historical immigration rate, and then under John Howard, it increased from like 70,000 a year to like 200 to 300,000 a year, and fluctuated around 230 to 300,000 a year, since Howard raised it, which has put more stress on infrastructure and housing. And some could argue that not all cultural exchange is good cultural exchange. After all, I mean, I'd argue that we've got a lot of US culture sort of for lack of a better term, invading the space of Australian culture. And I think that US culture is mostly garbage. That is my opinion of it.
The world would be better off without many things. War, famine, Americans.
eh, I mean,
Come on, let's not dig ourselves into a hole just yet.
look, okay, part of me wants to get into the technical arguments of, well, the US. I mean, look, Americans aren't overall, they're not that bad, but there's a lot to get into there, which I won't. But
There's a lot
ultimately,
to
I'll just
unpack,
say,
so we should burn the whole suitcase instead.
yeah, maybe we'll end it here and we'll do a part two.
Oh no.
Do you reckon?
I honestly don't think there's that much left to cover. Fundamentally, a diversity of culture and a diversity of thought is a diversity of thought and worldview is the
You know what?
strongest thing that
I've got it.
immigration gives us.
I've got it. I've got a way to demonstrate it in a nutshell. So the Spartans in ancient Greece, they had zero immigration. Hear me out. They had zero immigration. They were about as xenophobic as they came. You couldn't immigrate.
I hear
to
a lot of
Sparta.
things about how the Spartans came, and I don't want to know about that.
Yeah. So basically, they always like when Sparta fell, when Sparta kind of lost its relevance, the reason for losing its relevance is because they became so stagnant as a society. Because what immigration does is it does fundamentally disrupt a society. Now, some disruption is good. It stirs the pot, it churns it, and in the end, you get a better result for it as long as you're not disrupting it too much. So a stable, at some point, there's a stable level of immigration. Might be up here, down there, that's arguable. But what we've seen with Sparta is that zero immigration leads to stagnation. And so the greatest benefit of immigration is that it is somewhat disruptive, therefore shaking things up and providing benefits that we have discussed.
Okay.
So lesson is, don't be like Sparta, don't stagnate, and accept new ideas.
I'm okay with that.
All right. Well, with that, we've run over time, so we'll catch you later. Thanks for watching. Have a good one.
Good night, y'all.